Hey, hello, welcome everybody to the Petty Crew Radio Show. I'm your boy Boss Hog, host of the Petty Crew Radio Show. It is Super Bowl Sunday. I know everybody is trying to get their last minute items together because we know somebody will be throwing a Super Bowl party. And so again, we just wanted to come on and do what we do because I don't know about Diamond, but I don't have a bone or a dog in this fight. So, again, welcome everybody to the Petty Crew Radio Show, uh, Super Bowl Sunday edition. In the building, I have my lovely co-hosts who ride with me all the way from San Antonio, Texas. Diamond, how you doing?
Hey, this is Diamond, and I'm doing awesome. I am an entrepreneur as well as an educator, and you can always find me at Yolanda Diamond Jones on Facebook and Instagram, or you can look up my business, YOLO Expressions, where I do customized and personalized T-shirts, cups, mugs, buttons, jewelry. Pretty much, if you name it, we make it. And I'm excited to be here today and ready to get this party started. I do not have a dog in this fight. If most people know, if you don't now, you know I'm a Packers girl. I love me some Green Bay Packers. But if I had to pick somebody for today, I am gonna be rooting for the Chiefs just because it's more interesting when you watching a game and you actually rooting for a team. But that is not my regular team. I only picked them out of the two choices I had for the Super Bowl. And I'm only riding with them today, Super Bowl Sunday, because I am a diehard Packers girl all the way.
Okay. Like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. For you guys that don't know, I am a diehard 49ers fan. We came up short this year, not a real good season, but anyway, we have next year. And just like Diamond, I too am rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's nothing
I
against
have
Tom
a dog.
Brady and the Buccaneers. I just believe that Kansas City can be beat. So again, thank you and welcome everybody who is tuning in right now. Shout out to our faithful friend, viewer, supporter, caller. Thank you for chiming in or saying hello to us today. We really appreciate it. Listen, as you come in live, please do me a favor and please share this live again. We want to bring in as many people as possible. We have a great show lined up for you guys today. So let's go on and jump right into it. What are we going to be talking about? Again, please make sure you share our Facebook Live. Um, we have some interesting stories in which we want to bring to you today before we get into the Super Bowl festivities. And so, one of the stories that we're going to be talking about today, for you guys who don't know, we have a Capitol rioter who was a young lady from Texas who petitioned the court, and it's white privilege when you even can ask this question. However, a young lady from Texas has asked court to grant her the opportunity to go on a vacation. Yes, let me say that again. In the midst of being charged, in the midst of anarchy, that's what I'm going to call it, she wants to spend quality time with her coworkers because she already had this pre-planned trip for her workers. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about, for you guys who don't remember, think back, remember at the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, there were two Atlanta police officers who were involved. Well, it was a total of six of them. They were involved in an altercation with two young HBCU students. Two of those Atlanta cops were fired. However, since that time, uh, they are going to be reinstated back on the Atlanta police force. So we're going to talk about that. Also, for you guys who are not aware, a 9-year-old girl um, was pepper sprayed as the police officers were trying to force her into a police car. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about something that has really been on my mind that I'm wrestling with. That if you guys are watching, I want you guys to help me to get an understanding about, and that is the brother Delonte West. For you guys who are familiar with his story as well, He is a former Cleveland basketball player. He's also a former Maverick basketball player. And since his retirement, I guess, or absence from the league, he had fell on hard times. People spotted him on different areas here in Dallas, Texas. And I guess his family put out a plea. Mark Cuban came to the rescue, sent him down to Florida to a rehabilitation center. Since that time, he has completed that process and now has been hired by the very um, rehab facility. So he has a job. And so the reports are saying he's doing well. But here's where I'm conflicted. Why did it take Mark Cuban, a white man, to come rescue a black brother? I want you guys to think about that way before we even get into that conversation. Why did it take a multimillionaire, and I want to add a white man, to come rescue a black brother from the streets? So listen, let's get right into it. Let's jump into the story about this white privilege that I'm talking about. And this was an article from USA Today that says a woman accused of participating in the riot January the 6th at the U.S. Capitol asked federal judges for permission to leave the county on vacation this month. The article goes on to say that Cud, a small business owner in Midland, Texas, is on pretrial release after being charged with two misdemeanor offenses, including entering a federal building without permission and engaging in disorderly conduct. Now, at the time that this article was released, USA Today had made a statement after that said that the magistrate had uh, granted her permission to leave for this vacation to Mexico. Since then, they had to come back and amend this article to say that at this current time, a magistrate has not granted her the permission. So it's still up in the air. She might just end up missing this vacation that's already been preset. However, it was worthwhile talking about because for you guys who are also unfamiliar, I don't know if you guys remember the funny looking man who was a white guy who had the bull horns, no shirt, in Arizona. He was not eating the food at the jail that he was in. A court also granted him, uh, or the court ordered with him that he should eat a certain diet because he was not eating the jail food. So let's go and jump right into it. Diamond, what are your thoughts about this? Talk to me. How are you feeling about?
Man, have I have so many mixed emotions because again, we continue to see white privilege. I mean, if you're in trouble and you're about to, have a trial and all of that, why should you be allowed to leave the country? Not even just the state, but the country just for a vacation. Like, what? Where they do that at? Oh, that's right, in the United States. That's exactly where they do that at. I think it's unfair. I think it's uncalled for and unjust. I don't think she should be allowed to go. Just like they did the special order of food for that one guy. It's like, why did y'all do all of these things? You were involved in an insurrection, and yet it's still you're getting privileges before you even go to trial. This just continues to show what we've been saying all along is that white privilege has its point. Everything we're still seeing, even in the midst of a pandemic, even in the midst of another civil rights movement, because honestly, that's where we are right now. Whether we've looked at it, whether we've realized it, with these protests we have going on, we're in the middle of another civil rights movement. So while we're in the middle of this civil rights movement, we continue to see white privilege. We continue to see how the scales are not balanced. We continue to see how we claim justice is blind, but it's not blind. Because guess what? Those scales continue to tip in favor of the white man. It continually denies the black man to write for whatever should happen. Now, there's some good white people out there. I know that. Just like there's some good and bad black people out there. But at the end of the day, just like Martin Luther King said, we should not be judged by the color of our skin. It should be the character. Because that's when you can say it's fair. And that's when you can say it's just. And that's how you keep out these movements. If you're treating black Sam the same way as you're treating white Sam, it's not a problem. It's not an issue. The problem is because you're not. The problem is because blacks continue to get paid less. We continue to be looked down upon on a country that, let's be real, we built this country. This country was built on the back of African Americans, or as some people want to say, Africans that came over, even though everybody that came over from slavery were not directly from Africa. But that's a whole nother story, and that's a history lesson that if you're not a history buff, you're not going to know or have even touched that ground. I'm going to continue to say that this is wrong. It's injustice and it shouldn't be allowed. Like, you gonna go on vacation? Really? The court gonna grant and allow you to go on vacation? I could care less if it was paid for or not, because when you do the crime, you gotta do the time. That's with anybody else. If it was a black person saying, "Hey, can I go on my vacation that was prepaid?" Do you think the judge gonna let them? They're not even gonna think about letting you go. That guy was gonna hit so quick with the word, "No, you cannot." So guess what? You caused this problem. You caused this situation. So guess what? You shouldn't be allowed to go on vacation or anywhere else. You need to be in court at your trial. That's where you need to be at. And you really need to be found guilty and do your time. That's what needs to happen. But
Right.
I would say that continuously. Go ahead.
Well, well, I mean, as I read this story, um, for you guys again who are just now tuning in, we're talking about a young lady who go by her last name is Cud. What's her first name again, Diamond?
Jenny.
Jenny Cud. She is a business owner out of Midland, Texas, who was one of the people who were caught at the Capitol after Donald Trump basically riled up his fan base to stand up for what they believed that they were right about when it came to um, them believing that fraud was happening with the election of Joe Biden and our vice president. In any case, what's so astounding about this is that for a lot of them, they were very proud about it and they put all of their business on social media. Now we know that if you go do dirt or do anything, you don't want to leave any footprints. And so for a lot of these people, they were very much proud of everything that they did. Um, she herself was on social media posting that she's there, she's upset, she's mad about the whole situation. But she also started playing the innocent role, as the story goes on to say that she's like, well, I mean, I entered the Capitol, but I didn't destroy anything. I didn't take nothing. I mean, I just walked in. So, in her mind, she doesn't see where there is a offense being committed. The question is where you're supposed to be in that building. That was business time. That's not your place of business. You went in there with the mindset, regardless of if you're going to do anything bad or not, to show that you were upset. It doesn't really matter. And again, it goes back to what you were saying. The scales of justice, for some strange reason, does not favor us sometimes. And so that's why sometimes we're surprised when they do. Uh, the arrogance, and again, it just comes with the fact that, oh, she's never done anything. She's not at risk of there's nothing to say that she has a history of if she's granted this opportunity to go on a vacation, that in honestly she forfeited by committing the crime of showing up and storming the Capitol with everybody else. She doesn't get, she forfeited that right. However, it still didn't stop them or her and her attorneys for at least asking, because hey, I've already spent this money and I just want to spend this time with, my coworkers, with my employees. And like you said, for us, it doesn't work like that. I wonder what would have happened if, you know, Suzanne Thomas, a black woman who was with Black Lives Matters, was arrested under the same circumstances when they went to the Capitol this past summer, and was asked, can she go on a family trip to Disneyland with her family?
No.
We already know how that would have went. Yeah, always, as I always say, the scales of justice might be blind. There's a symbol for the scales. It's a woman who's blindfolded, and she has this balancing, whatever you want to call it, of the scales. And I always say that, she might be blind, but the people behind her aren't blind, which are 9 times out of 10 white men and women. And so, again, it's this case of, as we see with all this stuff coming out, how we show and that they are blind to the fact that the treatment between us and the circumstances are always viewed differently. You get what I'm saying? It's not enough that we got data that show that, we are arrested more than other races. We're profiled more than other races. We're sentenced harder than other races for the same crimes. And it's like, hey, you guys don't see it, but they get the luxury of turning a blind eye to what's going on. Hopefully, the magistrate does not grant her this. I think they might, in my opinion, I think they might just let it play out, because there's nothing to say that they got to answer anytime soon. You get what I'm saying? And I think
Right.
ever since it's hit the news, more than likely they just probably let it sit there and just say, well, hey, because I'm not sure if you've been following in the news. Um, the guy that killed those people up there in Wisconsin, he's jumped bail. Are you familiar with that, Diamond? I think his name was like Right House, the little 17-year-old boy that went from Illinois to Wisconsin. He shot
The
two
one
guys protests.
the one where his mom drove him
Right,
and
where
she
his mom was.
yes, and she was an officer as well.
Right. So
Okay.
they can't find him. Again, white privilege allowed him to be able to make, because remember, my pillow guy and somebody else raised money for his bail. Now
Right.
they don't know where he's located. So now they have issued a arrest warrant for him. I mean, he just killed some folks. Why did you let him out on bail in the first place? You see what I'm
My
saying?
question would be, is it that you really don't know where he is, or you just saying that because I've seen black men. I actually know one, to be transparent. When I was a little kid, my uncle was on the run, and the FBI came to Texas to pick him up from Kentucky, and they knew where he was. They actually had pictures where they had been following him. He actually was working and trying to get on the up and up. Had changed his little name and everything, but guess what? They had pictures of him. They had been following him. I was in the fourth grade. I never will forget it because I was asleep at home alone and I woke up to guns to my head and it was the FBI where they were looking for my uncle. And they came in the house on the premises of saying they saw me through the window laying on the bed, and because I was laying face down, they thought I was dead. So that's why they came into the house in the first place. But then once they got in the house and I heard the noise, of course I wake up. Well, guess what? I was 8 years old at home alone. And so I wake up to guns pointed at my head and all around me, and it's the FBI. So my thing about that whole situation is, if you came and found him, how come you can't go find this person? You find everybody else you're looking for. So I'm like, are y'all really looking for him? Or is that just, oh, he escaped, because he's white, so you gonna let him make it? That would be my question to that.
Right. Well, I mean, the article says, well, not the article, but I guess what was said was he gave them the wrong address from the jump. And then, if you've ever dealt with court before, anytime there are any changes, it doesn't matter what it is. If you if you change your address, you're supposed to report that any change of
Right.
address and location with the court. You got so many days. And again, it just goes back to the privilege in which we do not have, that the color of our skin does not afford us to have those luxuries. Secondly, it costs money to have attorney. And a lot of time, we as African Americans are appointed court appointed attorneys who are going to just do the bare minimum for you versus
Right.
having money to pay somebody to do the job. And so again, not to harp on it too long, but it was just strange and surprising that you don't even take it serious. Like, this is a serious matter, and the only thing that you're concerned with is you don't want to miss a trip that you had already planned. I guess for some strange reason, I think a lot of them thought, well, we're going to do what we did January the 6th. Nothing's going to come of it because we're just showing our right to protest. And we're going to go back home to our places of business to say, hey, we stood up for something. I think there's a misconception between when they protest and when people of color protest. And they don't understand the difference. We protest injustices, police shootings,
Right.
um, mass incarceration, the killing of an innocent person, be it death row. We found a
Right.
lot of men, women of color, end up being exonerated before they are killed or let go after spending so much time on death row and even in jail in general. Rarely do you hear cases of white Americans having their sentences overturned for these same situations. And so, again, not to harp on it, man, you need to just suck it up, chop that little money up, do like people of color have to do, rebound, and get it back again. How about that? So we go in that little conversation. Let's not even harp on that.
Okay, let's move on. But hey, I
What's
gotta
that?
I want to change it up for a bit. And you don't know anything about these, but I had thought about this during the week. Didn't want to say anything. It's part of the reason I'm like, hey, is it just you and I today? And you was like, yeah. So of course my little head got to turning, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. So you have all of this stuff going on, but as we've talked about it before, you never really advertise yourself. So I decided on my own that I was going to interview you today and ask you questions about your businesses so that the people out there listening, they know a little bit about the regular everyday boss hog, the one known as Stephen Haynes instead of the one on the petty crew. So I know you have it's income tax season, of course, and I know you do taxes. And I'm looking for somebody to do my son's taxes. So I was like, I need to ask a few questions. So I think this is the perfect opportunity for you to tell us a little about the tax business, and then for Diamond to ask you a few questions.
Wow. You know what? I am surprised. Um, you are absolutely right. I have been saying, I support everybody. I share and put everybody else out there, and very seldom do I put myself out there. And so, look, listen, I'm lost for words. So let's go. What you want to know? I'm the interviewee. So what's up?
Okay. So this, I want to know, there's a lot of different things going on. I've seen articles talking about people that didn't get the stimulus check and they can do something, don't know exactly with their taxes where they can reclaim that money. Tell us what you know about that.
So one of the reasons why I took the IRS, they extended the acceptance date, which is February the 12th, will be when the IRS will be accepting um, electronic filings. By now, they would have already done it. One of the main reasons why they did that is because they wanted to make sure that their systems and everything were going to be running smoothly for all the credits for people who, for instance, never received any stimulus check. And so when you do your taxes now, you will have questions in which you're going to need to be asking, if you received your um, stimulus check, if you haven't, because you're going to be able to claim that when you do your taxes. And so it's now set up in their program. Uh, so if you haven't, so I want to tell people, if you are watching and if you haven't done your taxes, if you received one payment and haven't received the second, it's not a big problem. You want to go on and do your taxes now and claim that money. Because initially, I'm not sure. Of course, I've been paying attention because I'm in the taxes. And so one of the biggest things that they were saying was, go on and get your taxes, do them now. People like myself and other companies, H&R Block, TurboTax, you name it, are already accepting and processing tax returns. You want to go on and get it in the system so they can start processing your taxes and start giving you those, adding those credits to you. So if you got one payment and you owed another, say for instance, 2,000, whatever it was going to be for your family, they're going to give it to you through your tax return. So that's what that is when it comes to that. So if you haven't done your taxes, and you should be receiving your W-2s by now, go on and start. If you have everything lined up, go on and start getting your taxes prepared. As Diamond said, you can reach out to me. I can do anybody taxes in any state, with the exemption of California. Um, and everything is done electronically. And so I have partnered with my own tax lady who has been in Texas in doing taxes for over 10 years. And I was so impressed, like I've said once before, I was so impressed by her that I wanted her to teach me. And so I am now qualified uh, legally, because she also has a tax school to do tax preparations. And so I was doing that over the past, at the end of like maybe August, so going through school and everything. And so, yeah. So with that being said, man, if you haven't received your taxes or your stimulus check, go and file your tax return. You will get it on your tax return.
Okay, so do you do businesses or are you just doing individual tax?
I'm qualified to do business and personal. Um, as stated, I do have others, several entrepreneurial endeavors as well. And my tax lady does my taxes as a business entity. So, yeah, I'm qualified to do personal and business. Listen, it's my job to minimize if you have a business, to minimize your taxes and get you back as much as possible through tax deductions.
Okay, so have there been any changes for college students? When the pandemic first started and the first round of stimulus checks were coming out, college students were not included because they were aged out and a lot of them were not working, so they were probably still being claimed by their parents. So they just was one of the ones that didn't get a stimulus check at all, not on their own or through their parents. So have there been any changes on that?
Um, because I think what's this? This is our second stimulus check. Now, on the first, um, I believe if they were under the age of 18, of course, the parent got them. I'm not aware of any changes to where if a student was in college or in school, if that was the case, so much was going on with them changing, and what they were trying to get through. So I don't want to give misinformation and say for certain, especially now being that we're more than likely going to get a third stimulus check that's coming as well. So I don't really know how the IRS and the government is handling college students. Now, if you had a part-time job, more than likely, and your parents didn't claim you, you received the check.
Right.
That's just, and if you work and if you have any, you know, W-2 file as far back as I believe 98, 99, you received the check. Now, if you didn't
Right.
work and your parents claimed you, that was just common sense. Your parents would have claimed you, and hopefully they gave you some money for it.
Well, yeah, well, college students didn't get any, like, even if their parents carried them, if they were over the age of 18, nobody got credit for them. So there was like that little blue area. So even if
Right.
your parents claimed you on your income tax, but you were over 18, nobody, the parent didn't get anything, you didn't get anything. But I know
Right.
you have other businesses as you're an entrepreneur. So what else do you have going on? Like we know you have a petty crew, you do taxes. Is there anything else we need to know about that you out here doing?
So I don't talk about this a lot. Um, I actually started a bath and body um, line probably 4 years ago, and it's called Labella, and I'm on Facebook. Um, Called Labella Creme, and so you can find me on Facebook. I never created an Instagram account for it and everything, and so I got into natural soaps. You know, I'm a man, and so my motive, I'm gonna keep it 100. So I always thought, I'm like, you know what, I love women, and so women love, body products. Uh, I was always into the natural stuff, stuff that was not uh, going to harm women, especially when it comes to those sensitive areas. And so I just got into the natural, natural body product line, natural soaps. Um, Now I didn't make them. That's just too time consuming. I didn't do that because I mean that's just too time consuming. And so I just started going through different black businesses who were into making these items and just basically going through them, buying their product and then just selling them. Just going through a black
Right,
source for my product. And so um, I just stopped sharing it because life happens, and so I had to just
right,
kind of focus on other things other than
right,
bath and body product line. But I do have that. That's like my first baby, and so it's gonna always be my baby because I created that from the jump, from the website, to logo, to what products I wanted, what I wanted in them, and so I do that. And now that you talked about it, that means I got to share it on social
yes,
media.
you do. So
I do.
hey, if you're just tuning in to us, we're having the rare opportunity to actually find out what's going on with the man behind it all. We're having a personalized
Oh
interview
God.
with Boss Hog. We're finding out things that I didn't even know. I knew about the petty crew and the taxes, but I had no idea that he was into the body soap for women and everything. So I think it's a great opportunity that we're taking this time out, just getting to know the man that started it all, that we all know as Boss Hog. He shared some vital information with us. So if you need someone to do your taxes, you don't have a person, definitely hit him up. The links will be on our show as well as his page where you can find him on Stephen Haynes as well as the Petty Crew. So make sure you check him out in that. And of course, now he has to share his body product link that Diamond didn't even know about. So I'm glad I took today out to do this little mini interview. I know we have a great show ahead of us, but I just have to take this segment out and make sure that we take time to promote the man that's actually behind the whole show and give him an opportunity to share some of the other things that he does because he definitely doesn't talk about it. Because I know I'm not the only one just finding out about this body line with these body soaps and everything. So of course I'm gonna have to go on and make my little order and everything. And I know we have some other show things to talk about. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back into your hands and let you tell us our next topic for today.
Well, you know what? Thank you for plugging a brother again, as stated. Of course, I am the creator of the Petty Crew radio show. Um, May, if I'm not mistaken, and it'll show up in my timeline because I'm not good with dates. I will be celebrating 4 years of the Petty Crew, um, as Diamond stated, and I'm also a professional um, tax preparer. I can do personal. and business taxes. I've learned from one of the best out there, my own tax lady. Um, I was so impressed with the fact of how she does my taxes, and I'm winning that I wanted to learn myself, and so I have put another added. I guess another notch to my belt. Um, as well. And yes, I do have a bath and body line. You can go to Facebook. It is called Labella Creme Bath and Body. I was so proud of that because it's hard to get a blue check on Facebook. If you have a business page, and now I'm a little bit upset because I lost my blue check because I stopped being active on my page. In other words, that blue check shows in it that you are verified, that you are the real deal, Holyfield, who you are. You see it on celebrities pages, so you'll know that that is them and they are the real McCoy. And it's called Labella. It is spelled Labella Creme, Creme, Bath and Body. You will see it. It has a blue logo. It says your skin deserves the best. And so yes, you can go to that page. I do plan on I never went anywhere, but I do plan on pushing that hard as well. But when you start getting into other things, you kind of you can't focus on everything. And so I just started focusing on the radio show and getting that off the ground. And so, we're doing, great things with the radio show. And so with that being said, again, thank you, Diamond, for taking the time to turn around and making me the what would be the word for it? Interviewee. I really
Yes,
do appreciate that. Thank you. Again, I've always, and you've heard me say it off there all the time. I support everybody else. I promote everybody else, and I just rarely have time to promote myself because, again, it's just really never about me. What's for me is going to be for me at the end of the day. With that being said, that took up one of the segments. And so what I do want to talk about is I want to get into this Delonte West because, to be honest with you, this was pressing on my heart. I shot this to you last minute, and for the whole week I have been trying to find this damn story. And for you guys that don't know, again, Delonte West was a former basketball player. He played with LeBron James. He was caught up in some mess. They were saying he was dating LeBron James' mother. He ended up going to the Mavericks. And I'm not a big basketball fan like that, so I don't know if he went to any other team, but I know he ended up playing with the Mavericks. And then from there, he just kind of left and faded out of basketball. However, for you guys that don't know, if you follow sports, uh, once he got out of the league, he fell on hard times. Got on the street. A lot of pictures were surfacing of him, begging. I mean, if you're in Dallas, Texas, you might have at some point in time ran across this brother who went from NBA stardom, multi-millionaire to the bottom of the barrel. And it was frustrating all week just thinking about the fact that it took a white man, Mark Cuban, who, for all intents and purposes, is a liberal guy, you know. Uh, but I'm just identifying him as white. I mean, he's a white guy. Mark Cuban, if you don't know. Multi-millionaire business entrepreneur, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, who his family urged and begged to rescue their family member. He scooped him up, sent him to a rehab in Florida. Since that time, he has went through the program. Say he's doing successful. There were many pictures of him riding horses, and now he works for the same rehab in which he was in as a patient. And so, I want to just talk about that. The question that I posed to you guys at the beginning is, if you are watching, if you're just tuning in, why did it take a why did it take Mark Cuban, a white multimillionaire entrepreneur, to save Delonte West? If you're watching, I want to know. Why did it take, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Diamond. Again, why did it take Mark Cuban, multimillionaire, who have a million things going on with his own life, to come in and say Delonte West? Diamond, talk to me.
As a student that's currently in school studying being a counselor, what I have come to find out, well, knew even before now, is one of the big taboos in the black community is mental health issues. We tend to shine away from mental health issues. We tend to shine away from the homeless that's in the streets. And don't get me wrong, not all of us, because shout out to the organizations that go out there and feed the homeless, give them shoes, socks, and all of that. Of course, I belong to several of those organizations. But we have a tendency not to take care of mental health issues in the African American community. Why did it take Mark Cuban? I do not know. I thank Mark Cuban for even just being a person to take the time out to go back and help somebody. And of course, he probably did it because he had a personal relationship with him. But at the same time, it's like, I read where Mark Cuban reunited him with his mother. So, as a mother of two black males, it makes me wonder, where were you that you was not aware that your child was going through these mental health issues? Was you trying to get him help? And a lot of times, I don't know the whole story, so I can't assume what may have or may not have happened, what his mom did do or didn't do. I just noticed that in the article, I found it very interesting that once he got himself together and through the rehab process, that Mark Cuban reunited him with his mom. But as a community, and he was in, and we know how big Dallas County is. So as a community, I know some Dallas African Americans saw this man on the street, knew this man had some issues going on, and why nobody stopped to reach out and give him a helping hand, that baffles me. But I have seen it time and time again in the African American community. For whatever reason, a lot of us tend to run away from mental health issues. We don't know how to deal with them, or it's like something is wrong with you because you're a manic depressant, or you have anxieties, or you have PTSD, or you're ADD or ADHD. You tend to have that label, and people tend to automatically shy away from you and say you can't do this, instead of being there to give you that extra support that you need. Or when they see you're falling into, if you're not taking your medication, hey, we need to get you some help. We need to get you back to the doctor and get you on your medicine. So I don't, it's hard to answer that question. Why does my community not embrace these issues? Why does my community, and I say my because I'm an African American, so why does my African American community not indulge? I've heard several conversations. If you're an African American and you say you're going to counseling, you get looked upside the head. You almost put out the group. Like everybody is like, something wrong with you. Y'all might not want to talk to her, or that you don't need to go to counseling. What you doing that for? We don't do that. They do that. I've heard it all time and time again. But at the end of the day, yes, we need counseling. Yes, we have mental health issues that need to be addressed. And as a community, that's something we need to realize and reverse that situation. Just like we protest for everything else and stand up for everything else, we need to start addressing that these are serious issues in our community that needs to be taken care of. And we need to start helping our own. Why do we not? I can't figure that one out. Maybe you have a better answer or a better outlook, but I don't know why, as a community, when we see mental health, we tend to start running away. And when I say me, I'm just speaking in general, not talking about anybody in particular, but I am talking about the African American community tends to shy away from mental health issues and homeless issues. Oh, he can go get a job just like me. For whatever reason, he can't go get a job. Something is going on, whether it's he's having a mental health issue, or he's in a state of depression and he can't get himself out. when you get that low, you need help. It's not easy to come out and overcome. So that's some things that we as a community need to start taking notice of and doing more about it.
Gotcha. Um, I do agree. Um, Taraja P. Henson. That's her name,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
So
yes,
if you follow her on social media in general, she is a very big advocate for mental health issues for people of color. And so I understand what you're talking about. I've said before, hell, I've been to counseling. I don't, it is nobody's job to get me straight but me. Um, and that's anybody, black, white, Chinese, I don't care what color you are. If you're in a relationship, not in a relationship, it's not anybody's job to get you straight but you. If you have a job, guess what? Your job more than likely pays for a counselor. And so I get it. What I was thinking about and why I wanted to hold this conversation is because I'm not sure if you guys ever watched the movie Cadillac Records. And shout out to Johanna Manning. He just made a comment about the last topic we were talking about. He says, um, I'm gonna put it back up here on the screen. It says, Steve, the alleged rioter is presumed innocent unless and until proven otherwise. That said, bail is just too reasonable to ensure she will appear in court. Yes, I understand that, but what we're saying is, and because if I'm not mistaken, you're an attorney, so you're coming from the legal side of it. That's great. I get that. I understand that fully. However, what we're speaking to the fact of what is black and what's white in this country. Before we jump on back on this Delonte West, because I do want to address this to show you that I did see the message. What we're talking about is the disparity that we always see in black and white, in how it is that situation is a microcosm of everything that we go through as African Americans in anything from sentencing. And you should know this, Johanna, in sentencing, we can put side by side 15 white men, 15 whatever, black men, whatever, if we want to mix them up, compare their same crimes, and then we can see what statistics show us is that African Americans are sentenced more harsher than their white counterparts. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that her attorney can even ask because she had already had a prepaid vacation. Yes, everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty. I know that. But we're talking about the black and white in the um, criminal system. So that's what we were talking about with that. Now, with that said, back to Delonte West. I just found it strange in a city with multi-millionaire African Americans because you got the Dallas Mavericks, you have the Dallas Cowboys, you have businessmen, business women. We have people who might not be millionaires but are in positions of influence. And out of all people, Mark Cuban said, "I'll come get you." What did he didn't do anything that one of our own brothers or sisters could have did in helping this brother. That's what bothered me. Now he paid the bill, but how many brothers and sisters could have came together to pay his bill? Now it might not have been to Florida because Mark Cuban had Florida money to take him. Let me take you out of the state. You follow what I'm saying? Mark Cuban got out of the state money. You might not have had out of the state money. You could have had in-state money. Let me send you somewhere to get you cleaned up. And we didn't even look at him. And again, I go back to what made me think about it because when I read the story, because that's what made it, that's what hurt me. I thought about the movie Cadillac Records. And if you've seen the movie Cadillac Records with Beyonce, a lot of great actors. Cadillac Records told the story of Muddy Waters, all that blues time. how they did contracts. We're talking about what was his name? What was another artist from that time? Chuck Berry, all of that. If you was raised in the 70s, you know all these guys. I used to enjoy Chuck Berry. I used to like that little skip he used to do across the stage. But one of the things that were in that story was that, if you guys remember, there was a scene in that story where Muddy Waters had to go to his white daddy because he didn't have the money to pay his bills. His wife would kept asking him, well, why is it that they doing this and they doing that, and here we living in this home? And he kept going back and forth to be handed some money, be it to have a bill paid or whatever. And it got me to thinking, about that. Why did it take a white daddy to rescue Delonte West with all the black influence, with the league being, the NBA being 90% damn near black? Nobody came for him. Nobody sent for him. I want y'all to understand that and think about that. Nobody came for him. I will say he was failed along the way, be it if it's his family, because I don't know that story either. His agent. And let's be honest, nobody owe him nothing because he's an adult. But between high school and college, somewhere somebody knew something was going on with this brother. It ain't like, for instance, he left out the league and all of a sudden now we know he had a mental issue. Did people turn a blind eye to his mental issues because he was a great talent? You follow what I'm saying, Diamond? Did they look the other way? And so let's use him for what he had, because when I look at this, I see a man who was used, like a lot of our brothers and sisters are, who are celebrities and athletes are used, and then we throw them to the curb. This is not the first time where somebody tried to help him. This is not the first time where we hear stories of Delonte West. This wasn't the first time. And it just bothered me that, and again, I don't, if you're watching, I don't have a problem with Mark Cuban. He is for us. And I'm with anybody who's for us. But it bothered me that it took him to do what we should have been doing for that brother. And now he's a little celebrity and play basketball, but then I have to think about the way my mind works. The everyday average person. Where do you leave the regular average African American who just need a little help? You know what I'm saying? I got a great idea, but I don't know who to talk to about it. You follow what I'm saying? Right. I got a multi-million-dollar plan, but where do I go? And we're not helping each other in the bigger scope of this, help each other to get to where they need to go. And so I understand the health aspect of what you're saying, Diamond, because you're right. Now, I'm not going to lie. I never really heard anybody say anything crazy or this stigma that people talk about. I'm not going to lie about that. I've never heard that stigma, so I can't really talk to that. But what I can talk to is, time and time again, this Black Wall Street, for me, it reaffirms that this Black Wall Street that we keep talking about and us helping each other, it just shows we can't, how we gonna get back to a Black Wall Street when we can't even help our own? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You telling me we couldn't come to, you telling me a damn church couldn't say, man, as much money y'all spend on buildings, you telling me TD Jakes, you telling me Pastor Freddie Haynes, I'm going to call all these motherfuckers out. Excuse me, because I'm getting upset. I'm going to call all of them out. You telling me Pastor Ricky Rush, you telling me Dr. Carter, you telling me all these, none of these niggas couldn't turn around and say, let me reach my hand out to help him off the street. Yes, I'm upset. because they look like all we do is we look out for us. That's what it looked like to me. Diamond asked me what I see on my end of it. It looked like I'm looking out for me. Why am I finna? Man, he one of them now. And let's be real, y'all know how we get when we see people who begging. Cause I've done it from time to time. It got to be in my heart if I'm gonna throw some dollars out. And I give to a lot of causes, and I do give. I just don't talk about it. But I'd be lying and say if I've never been one of those people to look at one of them, one of us, like that. You follow what I'm saying? So I'm just speaking from a place of being honest. And so, but I'm like, damn, man, listen, I'm hoping one day I get to a place in whatever my endeavor is to where I have money and I can reach back and help as many folks as I want to. I ain't trying to get money for me. I'm trying to get money so I can help bring up as many folks as possible. And I'm like, damn, why my time ain't came yet to be in a position to do what Mark Cuban did. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I would have said, say, man, come on. I might not have had that Florida money. I might not have had that type of money. But at least I'm like, damn, I would have did something. All these businesses, all these people who are doing great things in Dallas, Texas, black. I don't give a damn about nobody else. And it took a white daddy to reach down and say, I got you. Now, and then to West's credit, not only did he complete whatever, which goes to show if I just got a little help,
right,
I'll do the rest of it. They said, well, damn, apparently you're doing so good, we want to hire your ass. Let's keep this going. Let's put some money in your pocket. Let's make sure you get a foundation. You know what I'm saying? You know,
right.
man, I'll be out there on that shit. It just bothered me that we talk that shit. We talk that we for us. We talk that, reach back and help somebody. We talk that shit. We look good doing it. We do. I'm not a nobody. And I can swear for Lord, I probably supported most black folks that got something going than probably the black folks that got money for real. I'm sitting up here trying to still figure out who I want to support next with my little change. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I gotta decide. I gotta wait till the next time I get paid or some shit. you know? And it's like we talk that shit and it just hurt me all week. I've been trying to shoot you this goddamn story all week. Cause I'm like, we gotta talk about it. Yes. We gotta be about more than just that lip service.
Right.
And another reason why it touched home, I tell the story when it comes to sports, man, how we as African Americans, we do each other. And if it wasn't for a white guy, man, he was a teacher back at Kimball. And he came from a university. His name was Coach Graves. He was a white guy. He taught English, but he was like the JV football defensive coach, JV's defensive assistant coordinator. Cool white guy. A situation happened with me in junior high school. I mean, not in junior high school, in high school, my junior year. My uncle called me, man, out the blue. He going off on a nigga. He's in California. He going off. He's connected. I was a great athlete in high school, football, track, soccer. And he had one of his boys to check in on me again. He's plugged. He called me. He pissed off. I mean, I want you to think about it. I'm a 17-year-old dude. No, I'm 16. I haven't even turned 17 yet. I'm 16. Just hearing it from my uncle all the way in California. Man, what in the hell are you doing there? And you think you a prima donna nigga and all this. And I'm sitting on the phone like, what in the Sam hell is you talking about? I'm clueless. Back then, I really had an attitude because I'm like, I ain't got time for this shit. I don't even know what you're talking about. Man, mama heard the phone. Make a long story short, I get to school because now I'm pissed at what my uncle told me. Because now I'm trying to figure out where in the hell is this nonsense come? You're bathing your hamstring, all this shit. I'm like, because I had pulled my hamstring my junior year running track on the way to state. So again, my uncle's in California, so I know he had somebody to check for me because this nigga know about my hamstring. He ain't never seen me run personally a day in his life because he's been in California. So I'm sitting up here like, what the hell is he talking about? I go back to school, I'm pissed. I'm going to all my coaches. Say, man, you know about woo, 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 woo. Have you talked to somebody? You know, like, I'm hunting down who the fuck then told some recruiter some dumb shit. Because that's what happened. The truth is, a coach then told one of my uncle's boys, who happened to be a fucking recruiter at a major university, some bullshit. I'm baby my hamstring, you know, uh, he has an attitude and this and all this type of shit. And I'm sitting up here like, what? I get to my white coach, Coach Graves, say, man, this is what's going on with me. He was fucking man enough to tell me what it was. Let me say it again, a white boy. Say, Stephen, let me go on and tell you the truth about you and what they really doing with you. He says, man, all that stuff you doing in practice, they not trying to get you nowhere. All that shit, everything, they want you to do exactly all that. They're not trying to get you nowhere. Now I want you to think about this. If you're watching, I want y'all to think about this. I went to my black coaches. They have not a clue. Now I only went to a couple of them. Now if you play football, track, soccer, you got several coaches. So I'm just going to who the fuck didn't open their mouth. I'm just trying to figure out. I just happened to get to him, and he's saying, "Look, they're not trying to get you nowhere. They not trying to get no looks for you. They want you to keep doing what you're doing. You scoring your little touchdown. They're not trying to do that." And it shocked me, and I'm looking at him like, "What?" Now he's not the source of the information that was going to the recruiter, but he did inform me and enlighten me on what it really was. So now I ain't even on my uncle shit no more. Because now I'm looking at him like, excuse me? Say what? Fast forward, man, the whole story, man. I confronted my coach. My parents came up there. And it showed me how we treat each other. Now, mind you, I'm a high school student. I'm black. Everything that I thought I heard in high school, I never thought it would pertain to me. I heard the stories. Oh, they keep your letters from colleges. Whoop. Right. Never thought nothing about it because it never happened to me. Not until this point. And I say that to say it was a white man. That's why I don't want people to think that me as a black man, I have a problem with all of Caucasian Americans. I don't. I just have a problem with racists. I have a problem with people who, white people who feel like they are superior to us. If that ain't you, it ain't you. But I respected that man more for being honest when all these other brothers, and I ain't gonna say that all of them felt the same way, but those in a position to help me get somewhere were doing what they were doing. You see what I'm saying? After he told me, it didn't take long to try to narrow down where the shit came from, because who would know about my hamstring? My track coach.
Right.
Who would know about my hamstring? My head football coach. You see what I'm fucking smart. It was easy to start trying to figure out where it would come from. But it took him, Coach Graves, the next year they let his ass go. Because I confronted my head coach about this shit. I brought my mama and my daddy came up there. And so, that's why I said it bothered me when I seen this story, because I respect Mark Cuban 100%, but it flashed back for me. Sometimes it's the white people that come and save us. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When we should be supporting us and trying to get us where we need to go and help us, it's one of them.
Right.
And we take off. And so, like I said, for me, man, it hit home for me in just different places. One, again, if you're watching, I do want to know, why did it take Mark Cuban, with all the money we say we have, with all the black players that play for the Mavericks, with all the celebrities that play for the Cowboys, with all the black business owners, the black people, just people in Dallas who are in a position of influence. It just took him to do what we should have done in this case for this brother. And so, with that being said, I really, honestly, Diamond, I don't really want to talk about nothing else. I know we had other
Right.
um, stories lined up. Again, if you missed it, we opened up the show talking about Miss Cud, who is the business owner out of Midland, Texas, who um, petitioned the court to allow her to go on her vacation. As we've stated, that can only come from white privilege. As I want to mention again, Johanna Manning stated, yes, people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's true. However, we're not talking about guilt and innocence here. We're talking about uh, the fact that we already know as people of color that ain't even a question we would ever ask a court, because we are conditioned that 9 times out of 10, more than likely, it's not going to go in our favor anyway. So we're not even going to think about it. Uh, Diamond surprised me with an interview because, again, as I've always stated off air, I never, even when I have the intentions on mentioning anything I'm doing, we never get into what I'm doing. So for you guys that don't know, now you guys know I am a professional tax preparer. So if you do need your taxes prepared, you can reach out to me on the Pettigrew page, or you can reach out to me on my personal page, which is Stephen with a B Hayes, Hayes, in parenthesis, Boss Hog. I would be more than happy to help anybody, personal or business wise, with their taxes. Um, I'm able to assist anybody in any part of the country except for California. They just have different kind of rules and shit when it comes to taxes, in which hopefully by this year I'm able to operate there as well. As you know, I also have the Pettigrew Radio Show, which is another one of my babies. If you would like to support the Pettigrew Radio Show, guess what? This stuff costs. I don't know if you guys know, but there's absolutely nothing free in putting on a show. The software that I use, the ability to re-air, rebroadcast my shows, to advertisement in general, it costs. So if you would like to support me with any type of monetary donation, you can see right there scrolling at the bottom of the Pettigrew Radio Show. My cash app is $ Hayes Who, HayesWho. Also, a lot of you guys that didn't know, I created a bath and body line 4 years ago, which was my first baby. If you've been following me on social media, probably for a while, you probably used to see me share, but again, life happens. I had to focus on other things. It is still around. Now that Diamond has forced me to talk about it, now I got to put it back out there for you guys to see it. And maybe it's a push for me to start back, promoting that as well. It's also natural bath and body product for sensitive skin, you name it. Uh, I definitely address women who have issues with certain type of soaps that they have to worry about using in certain areas. So I got you covered because I love my women, and so I will show that on the personal page as well. We did have other topics, but I honestly got so pissed off, to tell the truth. Uh, I don't want to talk about shit else. We keep it 100 on the show. So again, thank everybody for tuning in to the show. Diamond, as usual, thank you for lending your voice our way from San Antonio, Texas. Please let everybody know how they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at YOLO Expressions or Yolanda Diamond Jones.
Okay. Well, thank you again. Um, Next Sunday we will not be having a show. It is Valentine weekend, so I want to say, if you miss us, that's why. Um, I thought it'd be kind of cool, with Diamond, myself. I'm going to be taking my family to San Antonio, so I will be in Diamond neck of the woods next weekend for
Yeah.
Valentine. But, however, what I do want to say on the 21st, we do have a guest, and we will be talking to the authors of Competing with the Man in Your Head, Anthony and Christy Jones. Um, this brother has been on the show before, great friend and supporter of the Pit Crew. Uh, he also married me and my wife. And so we have a special connection because that's going to always be sketched in the history books. And so again, we're going to be talking to for you guys who can see the book, Competing with the Man in Your Head, um, Anthony and Christy Jones. And so we're going to be looking forward to interviewing them. I'm going to dive into that book. It seems like it's going to be a good read. If you're single, married, or whatever, you lost faith in love, relationships. I read the beginning of the book. It seemed like that's what it's going to be kind of addressing. I'm going to be diving into it probably during the week as well. So again, thank everybody for tuning in. Also, before I go, if you missed any part of the show, um, we will now be going live at different times as well. So don't be mad. You can catch the beginning part of the show. Probably within the next couple of hours of show, we will be going live again. That's the beauty again of having your own thing, finding software and ways to get the message and this conversation out to the people. So again, if you missed any part of the show, I will be going live again. We will be going live probably around anywhere between 7 and 9. We will not be interfering with the Super Bowl festivities, but as soon as it's over, we will be having this conversation again. So again, thank everybody for tuning in. As usual, we appreciate your support. And until next Sunday or the next time